Soul Butter, a tiny talk about big things. So much talk, so little makes sense these days. What do you do when something much wiser than the mind you use to get through a day starts talking to you? A voice beyond what's familiar. And how can you make it work for you beyond the spin in this world? Start listening today. Join Susan Gabriel from the inside out with special guests, songs, students, and stories as we introduce Soul Butter, a tiny talk about big things. Light notes from the Suze Muse. I am Susan Gabriel, your host, the Suze Muse, to this tiny talk on big things here at Soul Butter. And today we welcome Jennifer Horn. I'm very excited to say hello. Hi.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Great to have you here. She is a 3-decade veteran of communications and as state and national GOP leader, political strategist, podcaster, author, and mother of 5, and I have learned grandmother of
6.
Because of your remarkable work as a pioneer fighting to preserve all of our freedoms and preserve this wonderful democracy at this very strange moment in space and time in our history. It really it goes right to where you're talking. What is your invisible power?
I hope that my invisible power is an open heart. Because if I have an open heart, that means that as a Republican, I can listen to Democrats. As a mother, I can listen to my children. As a spouse, I can listen to my husband. As a sibling, I can listen to my brothers and my sisters. So if I have an open heart, then at least I'm available to the possibilities. I really believe that these kinds of conversations slowly change the world.
Your message. Mm-hmm. And for just one more thought about girls growing up and coming up and students in the world that are looking for role models because we're not giving them enough. You know, they're thrown into this politic where if you were to think of one thing just in a footnote to suggest.
Don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on yourself. You are the power. You are the love. You are the kindness and the compassion and the generosity that you are seeking. But when you ask that question about, young girls coming up in the world today, I can't help but also think about the political world that you and I are very active in. And so I would take it a step further and say, don't let go. Don't allow yourself to be pushed back.
Mm-hmm. This week we go around in sound all the way to explore Annapolis, Maryland, where we meet Linnell Bowen. Hi, Linnell.
Hi there.
Not only a pillar of her community, but a legend in her own town. Linnell has been recognized as a powerhouse behind the arts in Maryland in pragmatic ways that only some people dream of. Chosen more than once among the top 100 women in the state. Recognized recently on International Women's Day 2024 for her contribution of time, energy, and resolve to bring the arts closer to students, closer to families, closer to community, and throughout the community, and her energy to support historic preservation.
You gotta nudge, you gotta keep nudging for whatever you have a passion. You do.
Yeah, well, you do it without stopping. I've seen you do it. What is your one hope at this point, and for the world, the community, the schools, our sense of ourselves? What is your one hope, if there is one, and where do you think you have helped the most, looking back and looking forward?
Well, you ask tough questions. My one hope is that every school has a curriculum that is rich in arts and equates it with math and science. That's my hope. That we continue with this, that we see the importance of developing creativity, whether it's in math or music. So preservation of your roots, so to speak, is really important. Live art matters.
And my contention is that something happens between people in the live moment that cannot be replicated. And it's a bigger experience. It's part of that invisible power. And I'm thrilled to have a wonderful person join us today, Sister Marion Defeis from the St. Joseph community in New York. How do you intuit the direction that you follow when you're ministering to people? I know you were of great service to the women on Rikers Island and had a lot to do with changing the Rockefeller law.
How to listen to the spirit within us. And it's that spirit within us that's guiding us. And so I worked with the women and fortunately was able to get many women out of jail and on to much better lives. And I really felt for those women. And they came from many different countries and landed in JFK.
And your activism, the national media got involved, and I also noted that you would go to prayer and again, this phrase, impelled by the Spirit, you would listen for where you were to go next. You would listen for, you got involved with the politicians, you followed direction. You were real activists to offer to people who had been wounded in the world, sometimes by the world, and were themselves looking for direction, looking for a way. And this gave them the way. And it was your listening deep within, and one thing leading to another, this quiet connectivity that goes on in this very loud world that leads to changing lives. And
I allowed the spirit to take over. And that was a very important part of my journey. This notion of, or the feeling of being impelled to move from one place to another. And so that's how I try to live my life, is being open to the Spirit and being willing to take on whatever the Spirit was offering me.
I met Constance dancing through a room in Montecito, Santa Barbara, some time ago. She was leading a class, and it was an ancillary detail for her because she has notable credential along the path of spiritual mentorship from the Claritas Institute. She also has had a dream of becoming a minister. How and when did you know that your desire in life was that spiritual connection?
I remember when I was 3.5, I sat on the edge of my bed. I was crying about something. And I just kept asking God, give me something important to do. And I never forgot that. And dance was always in my life. I mean, that's all I did.
So the stunning thing, and I haven't yet brought our audience into this part of your story, but in 2013, you experienced a near-death experience that completely challenged and immobilized your physical container.
I fortunately had a kind of stroke that did not impact my speech too much. I have a little bit you can hear, but not a lot. But I did become completely paralyzed on my left side of my body. I can't move it. So that changed my life in a heartbeat. Another thing that you just made me remember, when telling this story, I usually always have remembered to say what was really a profound spiritual moment. And I just yelled out, "I'm not done yet." And it was because I was thinking about my spiritual health students. And I didn't want to leave them.
Okay.
Thank you for the invite.
It's my pleasure. We'll see you again.
Let's keep the spirit going.
We will keep it going, and we'll keep our souls buttery. See you soon.
That's perfect. That is so perfect. I love that.
Soul Butter, a tiny talk about big things. Light notes from the Sue's Muse.